Good morning, everyone. Today, my group and I will present about inventory management. Our group consists of myself, Shaquila Dania, Luthfi Aulia, Nadia Edawarma, Muhammad Afif, Genta Arya, Reyhan Akbar, Muhammad Alfarrabie, and Fachri Zaimil. Next slide, please. Our topic consists of 12.1 ABC analysis, 12.2 cycle counting, 12.3 EOQ model, 12.4 safety stock, 12.5 order quantity model, 12.6 quantity discount model, and 12.7 service levels. Next slide. We will talk about 12.1 that talks about ABC analysis first. The materials will be explained by Alfarrabie and Fachri.
Okay, thank you, Kayla. Now I will explain about the ABC analysis. The first topic is about what is an ABC analysis. ABC analysis is an inventory categorization method which classifies the inventory primarily into three distinct categories based on revenue generation. Every single item we order doesn't have equal value, of course. Some parts cost more, some are used more frequently, some are both. So this ABC analysis divides an inventory into three categories. The A category items with very tight control and accurate records, the B category items with less tight control and good records, and C category items with the simplest control possible and minimal records. You can see in the picture, this is about the ABC analysis for manufacturers. You can see the A items has 80% of value, but it has the lowest items on the inventory. And the B item has 15% of value, but it has the average items on inventory. And the C item has the lowest value, it is only 5% of value in inventory, but it has the biggest item in inventory. Next slide, please. You can see about the details of the three categories in this picture. The A category, products included in category A are one of the most important stock items having the highest value. It is also the smallest category with minimal products. The B category, it is basically a mid-level category in which the products of slightly higher value and less tightly controlled goods are recorded. Items included in category B are bigger in terms of volume, but of less utility as compared to the category A. And the last is the C category. Typically, C is a general category that contains the largest volume of inventory goods having the least volume in terms of generating business revenue. As such, these products need the simplest controls and the minimum records. Next slide, please. Now, it's about how to calculate the ABC analysis. A stock manager can perform ABC calculations on both individual products group or a wide range of inventory. An ABC calculation is usually carried out within 5 steps, which as follows. The first step is multiply the annual number of products with each item's cost and find the utility of that products. And the second step is we make a category of every product in the descending order based on its usage value. And the third is we add the usage value of the products, including the total number of items. And the fourth, we find out the cumulative percentage of items sold and annual consumption value. And the last step is we divide the data into 3 categories. Finally, in an approximate ratio of 80, 15, and 5% of ratio. For more detail, let's start with the example of this ABC analysis. And the example will be explained by my friend Fachri.
Thank you, Abi. I want to continue the example ABC. Example, we take the example of a few need to store. Step 1. Multiply the total number of the item by the cost of each unit to find the annual usage value. Next, step 2, list them in the descending order based on annual consumption value. Step 3, sum up and add the total number of units sold and the annual consumption value. Next, step 4, find out the cumulative percentage of products sold along with the percentage annual consumption value. Next, step 5, in the last type, split the data and the number into the 3A, B, and C categories. Remember, it's essential to set the data in the ratio of 80, 15, 5. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Abi and Fahri. Now we are moving to 12.2, cycle counting, that will be explained by Afif.
Okay, before I start, what is cycle counting? Cycle counting is a continuing reconciliation of inventory with inventory records. Cycle counting uses inventory classification developed through ABC analysis. With cycle counting procedures, items are counted, records are verified, and inaccuracies are periodically documented. The cause of inaccuracies is then traced and appropriate remedial action taken to ensure integrity of the inventory system. The items will be counted frequently, perhaps once a month. The items will be counted less frequently, perhaps once a quarter, and C items will be counted perhaps once every 6 months. And example 2 illustrated how to compute the number of items each classification to be counted each day. These are the example. Okay, next move on to the advantages of cycle counting. The first one is eliminate the shutdown and interruption of production necessary for annual physical inventories. And the second is eliminate annual inventory adjustments. 3, trained personnel audit the accuracy of the inventory. 4, allow the cause of the errors to be identified and remedial action to be taken. And 5, maintain accurate inventory records. So next, move on to good control service technique. In retailing, inventory that is unaccounted for between receipt and time of sale is known as shrinkage. And shrinkage occurs from damage and theft as well as from sloppy paperwork. Inventory theft is also known as pilferage. Retail inventory loss 1% of sales is considered good, with losses in many storage exceeding 3%. Therefore, we need good control service technique to prevent shrinkage and pilferage. So these are the technique. The first one is good personnel selection, training, and discipline. It is very necessary in food service, wholesale, and retail operation, where employees have access to directly consumable merchandise. The second technique is tight control of incoming shipment. This task is being addressed by many firms through the use of the Universal Product Code or barcode and radio frequency system that ready every incoming shipment and automatically check tallies against purchase orders. When properly designed, this system where each stock keeping unit has its own identifier can be very hard to defeat. And the last technique is effective control of all goods leaving the facility. Next, we move on to holding, ordering, and setup costs. Holding costs. It is the cost to keep or carry inventory in stock. Holding costs also include obsolescence, and costs related to storage, such as insurance, extra staffing, and interest payments. Next is ordering costs. Ordering cost is the cost of the ordering process includes cost of supplies, forms, and order processing, purchasing, critical support, and so forth. Next is setup cost. The cost to prepare a machine or process for manufacturing an order. This includes time and labor to clean and change tools or holders. Operation managers can lower ordering costs by reducing setup costs and by using such efficient procedures as electronic ordering and payment. Setup time. Setup time is the time required to prepare a machine on process for production. Reducing setup time is an excellent way to reduce inventory investment and improve your productivity. So that's for me. And the next is AKM model that will be presented by my friend.
Thank you, Afif. Next point for 12.3, we'll be talking about ALK model that will be explained by Reyhan.
Okay, thank you. I want to explain about EOQ model. First, what is EOQ model? Economic order quantity model is an inventory technique that minimizes the total of ordering and holding costs. And one of the most commonly used inventory control technique. EOQ consider the timing of reordering, the cost incurred to place an order, and cost to store merchandise. This technique is relatively easy to use, but is based on several assumptions. Demand for an item is known, reasonably constant, and independent for other items. Second, lead time. The time between the placement and receipt of the order is known and consistent. Third, receipt of inventory is instantaneous and complete. In other words, the inventory from an order arrives in one batch at one time. Next slide, please. Fourth, quantity discounts are not possible. Fifth, the only variable costs are the cost of setting up or placing an order, and the cost of holding or storing inventory over time. These costs were discussed in previous section. And the last one is stockouts. Stockouts can be completely avoided if orders are placed at the right time. Next slide, please. Here I want to explain about the example of EOQ. First, EOQ model formula, which is root 2 times D times S divided by H, which is D is annual demand, S is cost per order, and H is holding cost. For example, consider a retail clothing shop that carries a line of men's shirts. The shop sells 1,000 shirts each year. It costs the company $5 per year to hold a single shirt in inventory, and the fixed cost to place an order is $2. So we put the data that we have into the formula. Root 2 times D times S per H. And we put the data that we have into the formula. Root 2 times 1,000 times 2 divided by 5. So we get 28.3. So the ideal order size to minimize cost and to meet customer demand is likely more than 28 shirts per year. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Reyhan. For the 12.4, we will be talking about safety stock that will be explained by Genta.
Okay, I will explain about safety stock. First, we need to know what is safety stock. Safety stock is the amount of inventory a business needs to have to achieve a certain level of risk mitigations when it comes to stock outs. There are typically two types of inventory, core and seasonal. Core inventory is an inventory that remains in stock all year round. Seasonal inventory consists of product you bring in for a specific period of time. Safety stock is also called sometimes buffer inventory, safety stock, buffer inventory, and just in case inventory. And the reorder point, next slide, please. Out of stock can happen because of many reasons, including first, improper, ineffective or inaccurate inventory and operation management practice. And second, spikes in customers' demand. And three, poor demand of forecasting and inventory accounting. And four, disruption in production process. Next slide, please. C, how to calculate safety stock. As we know, there are two ways to calculate safety stock. One with standard deviations and one without. First, we will look at the moment simplified versions. First is using the basic safety stock formula. The basic safety stock formula is safety stock equal max daily sales times max lead time in days minus average daily sales and times average lead time in days. And second one is using standard deviations to calculate safety stock. The safety stock formula with standard deviations is more complicated but also more accurate. It accounts for values in metrics. The formula would like this. Safety stock equals desired service level times standard deviation of lead time and times demand average. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And how to calculate reorder point. ROP is the acronym for the order point, and ROP inventory simply refers to the level of inventory at which you will reorder to be able to meet demand and optimize inventory control. The ROP formula takes the safety stock as well as lead time to determine what the level is. Reorder point equal lead time demand plus safety stock. For that calculations, lead time demand is as follows. Lead time demand equals lead time times average daily sales. The lead time formula is as follows too. Lead times equals sum of number of days from date of order until that merchandise is received in warehouse. And lead time demand equals 5 times 125, and we got the result is 1,875. Reorder point is equals 1,875 plus standard deviations. When we get down to units of JGs, it's time to place an order to restock. Many inventory management software options will automatically calculate your reorder point and process per case orders to you, helping to reduce the risk of stock outs. Thank you.
Thank you, Genta. 12.5 will be explained by Luthfi.
Okay, in here, I'm gonna talk about production order quantity model. This model is applicable under two situations. The first, when inventory continuously flows or builds up over a period of time after an order has been placed. And the second is when units are produced and sold simultaneously. Under the circumstance, we take into account daily production or inventory flow rate and daily demand rate. Because this model is especially suitable for the production environment, it is commonly called the production order quantity model. It is useful when inventory continuously builds up over time, and a traditional economic order quantity assumptions are valid. So next slide, please. In here, I'm gonna give an example of production order quantity model. Nathan Manufacturing Incorporation makes and sells specialty hubcap for the retail automobile aftermarket. Nathan forecast for its wire wheel hubcap is 1,000 units next year, with an average daily demand of 4 units. However, the production process is most efficient at 8 units per day. So the company produces 8 per day, but use only 4 per day. The company wants to solve for the optimum number of units per order. Note, this plan scheduled production of the subcap as needed. During the 250 days per year the shop operates. So we calculate the data and then we gather D as we know. Next, yeah. D as we know as an annual demand is 1,000 unit. Setup cost as $10 and holding cost is H $0.50 per unit per year. And daily production rate as we know as P X units daily. And the last is daily demand rate. It's D 4 unit daily. So in here, we're gonna use the equation that Reyhan already mentioned, and then we input the data. And then we got the answer is 283 hubcaps. So the difference between the production order quantity model and the basic EOQ model is the effective annual holding cost per unit is reduced in the production order quantity model because the entire order does not arrive at once. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Luthfi. 12.6 will be explained by Nadia.
Okay, I will explain about quantity discount model. For an economic order quantity or AOQ model that takes into account quantity discount. Quantity discount are price reduction designed to induce large order. If quantity discounts are overrun, the buyer must weigh the potential benefit of reduced purchase price and fewer orders against the increase in carrying costs caused by higher average inventories. Hence, buyer's goals in this case to select the order quantity that will minimize total cost, where total cost is the sum of carrying costs, order costs, and purchase costs. Is simply reduce price because an item is purchased in large quantity. A major factor in considering discount due to quantity is between reduced product cost and increased storage costs. Next slide, please. The formula to annual total cost is, you can see the total annual cost is annual step ordering cost plus annual holding cost plus annual production cost. And you can see the formula for the TC, where key is quantity order, D is annual demand in units, S is setup or ordering cost per order, P is price per unit, and I is holding cost per unit. Yours expressed as a present of price P. So, different from quantity discount provide different purchase intensive to buyers. For example, the one discussed about tendency to compel the buyer to purchase more than they need at the moment. The seller will not allow you purchase just one unit at 15% of the full price. Another from quantity discount, which is based on the cumulative quantity purchased during a specific time period, actually include the buyers to continue purchasing from the current suppliers and restrict switch to other suppliers. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. And I will explain about 12.7, which is about service levels and probabilistic inventory models. The service level measures the performance of the system. Certain goals are defined, and the service level gives the percentage of those goals that should be achieved. Next slide, please. Example of service levels. The first is the percentage of calls answered in the call center. The second is percentage of customer waiting for less than given fixed time. The third is the percentage of customer who are not out of stock. And lastly is percentage of fully satisfying all parts of the order. There are three types of service level types. The first type is alpha service level. Alpha service level is an event-oriented performance standard. It measures the probability that all customer orders that arrive within a given time interval will be completely delivered from inventory. That is, there is no delay. Two versions are discussed in the literature. The difference lies in the time interval between customer arrivals. With reference to the demand period, alpha represents the possibility that the inventory on hand can fully satisfy any customer order that arrives. For the second type is beta service level. Beta service level is a quantity-oriented performance indicator that describes the proportion of total demand during the reference period, which is delivered without inventory delays. For the last type is gamma service level. Gamma service level is a performance standard related to time and quantity. It not only reflects the undelivered quantity, but also reflects the waiting time of undelivered demand. The probabilistic inventory model is closely related to the reality of manufacturing and retail because the reality of manufacturing and retail changes demand from time to time. Changes in demand can lead to shortage, especially in the lead time, if the retailer only has a limited amount of inventory to meet the lead time demand when the replenishment is not due. The probabilistic inventory model combines demand chart changes and lead time uncertainty based on three possibilities. Next slide, please. The first is when the lead time demand is constant, but the lead time itself changes. And the second is when the lead time is constant, but the demand fluctuates. The third possibility is that both the lead time and the demand in the lead time have changed. Probabilistic inventory models. Next slide, please. The probabilistic inventory model, consisting of probabilistic supply and demand, are more suitable in most circumstances. Two methods are used based on the frequency of order placement for procuring inventory stock, and these are single period and multi-period inventory systems. The term single period refers to the situation where the inventory stock is perishable, and orders are typically only made once, generally for one-time ordering of seasonal products or where demand exists only for the period in which it is ordered. For example, a newspaper sold today and will not be sold at the same price tomorrow, or will summer clothing items be likely to sell during the winter season? An incremental analysis is used to determine the optimal order quantity for a single period inventory with probabilistic demand. Assessing how much to order by comparing the cost or loss of ordering one additional unit with the cost or loss of not ordering that one additional unit. Next slide, please. With the multi-period method, orders are placed multiple times over an entire production cycle and are further classified as continuous review or periodic review inventory. The first is continuous review inventory. It is reviewed constantly, and when inventory stock drops to a certain predetermined par or reorder level, a fixed quantity is ordered. Continuous review is commonly used for high volume, valuable, or important stock items. Periodic review inventory is examined at periodic interval in predetermined time frames, irrespective of the level to which inventory levels drop. At this time, an order is then placed to bring inventory up to the maximum levels. The method is largely used for moderate volume items. I think that is all from our group, and thank you for your attention.